Hello, I'm back. I can't wait to get your opinion, especially on this last story. I have a fun one for you. These like prizes keep just dropping out of the sky. I don't know if it's because it's a new year, but it's about Kamala Harris, and she maybe possibly is telling a little lie, and we'll look into that. The internet gods came through and uncovered some odd similarities between a childhood story that she told about herself to Elle magazine and almost an identical story that Martin Luther King told Playboy magazine way back in the day. So we'll talk about that at the very end. Mike Pence made a statement today in Georgia regarding Wednesday, the electoral vote. We also have a member of Congress and another senator who said they will be objecting on Wednesday. And then there's a slight update from the Biden inaugural committee and some changes they're making to the parade. So we will talk about that, the parade that will be on the 20th, the inaugural parade. So we'll talk about that, and I can't wait to get your opinion on that as well. But first, this is what Mike Pence said today, and this is confirmed. He said this today in Georgia. I just took this tweet because it had it nice and together for you. But he said regarding the electoral objections that will probably be happening on Wednesday, he said this. He said, "We've all got our doubts about the last election. I share the concerns of millions of Americans about voting irregularities. I promise you, come this Wednesday, we'll have our day in Congress. We'll hear the objections. We'll hear the evidence." And so what he's talking about, we've talked about it before on this channel, when you have members of Congress and members of the Senate both objecting to the electoral votes that the states cast, that then goes into debate. So then they go on to a debate on the floor where they basically say their case. And Mike is basically saying here that, yes, I do share some of these concerns. And yes, I think that we should be having debates and we should be listening to the evidence and paying attention to it to make sure it's a safe and fair election. So that's basically what I think he's saying. Let me know your thoughts there. We have another congressperson, Mike Garcia, saying that he is going to be objecting. You also have Kelly Loeffler. She's the senator who's running in Georgia who says that she will be objecting as well. And that election is tomorrow. So everyone's kind of paying attention to Georgia. And then a few stories came out recently about sightings of. So the Biden team had set up viewing stands for the parade, the inauguration parade that will be happening on January 20th. So they had all these things set up and they were seen recently taking them down. And a lot of people have ideas as to why they're doing that. The official reason that the Biden inaugural committee is saying is they're saying it has to do with COVID. And here's a little bit of their statement. "We're inviting all Americans to be a part of this inauguration by watching from home rather than traveling to Washington, D.C. in accordance with public health guidelines. While the inauguration will look different, we will continue to honor the inaugural traditions Americans have always known. An official outdoor swearing-in ceremony, community service events, a reimagined parade," that's a word we're all familiar with now, "and virtual celebrations will bring the country together." Now, if you think about what's been going on in our country for the past 8 or 9 months or however long we've been in this, that makes sense. A lot of things have been canceled, but a lot of people are saying this also might have to do with the fact that they might be thinking a lot of Trump supporters are going to come and crash the inauguration, which if you look at all of Biden's campaign events, there was literally no one there. The enthusiasm was always on Trump's side. He is the one that gets people out in mass numbers, enthusiasm like we've never seen before. He had the massive boat parades, the massive car caravans all over the country, miles long. People are waiting in line for hours at his rallies. He's still doing rallies and he's still packing them. Biden can barely get 10 people at his. And this is Wayne Dunlap on Twitter, and he put together this little montage which kind of shows you the difference in enthusiasm among presidents. So he says Biden couldn't get 50 people even before COVID, and he won a record low 17% of counties, had less Black and Hispanic support, lost 18 out of 19 bellwether counties, lost Ohio, Florida, Iowa, and lost 27 out of 27 House toss-ups. But we are to believe that he shattered the popular vote. And that's the thing. If they don't control this, people are going to see no one's going to go show up to his inauguration. They didn't even show up to any of his campaign events anywhere. And now you can see this graphic. Obama, 69 million votes, 873 counties. Biden, 81 million votes, 477 counties. Trump, 74 million votes, almost 2,500 counties. And you can see the difference between a Trump rally and a Biden campaign event. It's pretty sad. And I have a feeling that if they do have the inauguration parade, it might be more Trump supporters than Biden. But let me know your thoughts on that, if that's one of the reasons they don't want to have the inauguration parade. So let me know. It always just seems to be a very convenient out, if you ask me. Okay, now for the good stuff. Hold on, let me find it. So Kamala Harris gave an interview to Elle magazine, and she told this beautiful story. So I'm going to read you this little excerpt from the story that she told, and then I'm going to give you an excerpt from a 1965 Playboy interview with Martin Luther King, and you just tell me what you think. All right, so Senator Kamala Harris started her life's work young. She laughs from her gut, the way you would with family, as she remembers being wheeled through an Oakland, California civil rights march in a stroller with no straps, with her parents and her uncle. At some point, she fell from the stroller. Few safety regulations existed for children's equipment back then, and the adults, caught up in the rapture of the protest, just kept on marching. By the time they noticed little Kamala was gone and doubled back, she was understandably upset. My mother tells the story about how I'm fussing, Harris says, and she's like, baby, what do you want? What do you need? And I just looked up at her and I said, freedom. So that was Kamala's story, and now I'm going to read you a part of the 1965 interview that Playboy magazine gave Martin Luther King. And this is a story that Martin Luther King told Playboy magazine in 1965. He says, I will never forget a moment in Birmingham when a white policeman accosted a little black girl, 7 or 8 years old, who was walking in a demonstration with her mother. What do you want? The policeman asked her gruffly, and the little girl looked at him straight in the eye and answered, feed 'em. She couldn't even pronounce it, but she knew it. It was beautiful. So those are the two stories. You tell me what you think. There is a possibility of dishonesty here, and that's nothing new with Kamala Harris. She did say that she smoked weed in college. I don't know if you remember on The Breakfast Club when Charlemagne the God was interviewing her. She said that she smoked weed in college and was listening to Tupac and Snoop Dogg. When you go back and actually look at when she was in college, she was in college before they even started releasing music, so there was no way that she was listening to them in college. And the irony of her joking about smoking marijuana is that she mass incarcerated people for marijuana charges when she was prosecutor in California. There was also the Kwanzaa snafu that happened just recently. So this is pretty embarrassing for Kamala Harris. The stories are quite similar. Let me know what you think about all of this. I can't wait to hear your thoughts, especially on that last story. Anyway, I hope you all are having a wonderful night. Good night.